Yeah, I'm Ray Koslowski. I teach international relations as a professor in the political science department. And I'm also the director of the Masters of International Affairs program here at the University of Albany. Well, first off, I view this as a course that lays the foundation for much of the other work in the program and introduces students to a wide variety of issues, whether that's human rights or security or the basics, if you will, of international relations. Our students come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Yes, there are quite a few who have studied international relations and political science, but we have students who may come from a background, a major in English or classics, economics. And so what I'm attempting to do is to be able to provide enough of a breadth of knowledge and introduction to international relations, but then also help students navigate some of the issues that many international organizations, as well as foreign ministries, State Department, etc., are dealing with on a routine basis. Part of this also involves getting to know a bit about all of the various institutions and actors in the international system, and it gets pretty complex. And that's where it requires quite a few readings to try to understand and map the world out there. We use this term global instead of international increasingly because of the plethora of non-state actors that have become increasingly important, whether these are NGOs, human rights NGOs, or more malevolent non-state actors like terrorist organizations, criminal organizations. And then, of course, there are all of the international organizations, the international governmental organizations that have come into being over time. Most notably, of course, the United Nations system, but then also the European Union and all of the European organizations and other regional organizations that have become increasingly important. So there's a lot of territory, if you will, that I try to cover. And well, along with that comes quite a few readings. Now, what I try to do with the readings, however, is in addition to some of the important theories of international relations, some of the groundwork that we do in history, is to assign readings that deal with foreign policy making and readings that are written by foreign policy makers, the practitioners. I also try to introduce students to some of the documents that they will be reading. And again, there's quite a few documents in many of the different UN agencies that can get into the weeds of a lot of different issues. And my hope is, anyway, that those students who grasp on and they're interested in a particular area will really delve into the documents that they find on those different parts of the organization's websites and be able to bring that information that they've learned to the classroom when they give their issue briefs, for example. And one of the things that's really interesting too, because you have people coming at it from all these different directions, right? So you have folks who are, really interested in security issues, and then you have some folks who are really interested in human rights, and then some folks who are interested in diplomacy. I guess they get in between the ones that are interested in those two different areas. And so what is really gratifying is when students, and this is not so easy either, because students are reluctant to criticize each other. They're reluctant sometimes to ask pointed questions. They sometimes are a little bit afraid of controversy, right? Who can blame them in today's world? But it's important that they do engage each other